Welcome back to Broken Bobby's Transformation Page. If you are new to the page, in 1990 I became involved in the drug gang world. From 92 to '06, I spent a lot of time incarcerated. I tell these stories to let you know it don't have to be you. If you're young and thinking about trying something or you're figuring out how to get out, these are my stories of this lifestyle and how it affected me, and eventually I got out and transformed my life. So let's get into today's story. So let's get right into this one. How a hit slash removal goes down in prison. So basically, you're on the yard, and someone's either going to come up to your cell or approach you on the yard, and they're going to ask you for a favor as if you really have a say in the situation. Now, typically, they're going to pair you up with somebody. Usually, if somebody needs to be taken off the yard, they're going to send at least two shooters with pieces. And before they determine who's going to go on this mission, the powers that be have already been sizing everybody up, and they have a pretty good idea of who's who and what's what. If you're new on the yard, then typically they'll send you with at least one other person that's been around and been there and done that, and they know can complete the job. Because the last thing they want to do is send some guys to move on someone to remove them and have the tables get turned. The thing is, just because you have the piece and you're moving, people have lost pieces and had the pieces used on them. Now, I haven't seen that, but I've heard stories of that. And so they basically want to definitely make sure that the job's going to get done. So if you are into this sort of content, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, drop a comment, and share this video. It definitely helps us to grow, and we have been growing. Thank you. Also, hit that notification bell so when I drop a new video, you will be informed and you can jump on it when you're ready. Also, I'm on TikTok. If you are on TikTok as well, you can find me at Broken Bobby 72. My format's a little bit different over there. It's not all war stories. It's more life advice, what I would tell a younger version of myself. So check that out if you're over there. So basically, okay, so you are partnered up with somebody and you're going to get together. If it's not like an urgent matter that needs to be done like ASAP, then maybe they might tell you, okay, at first yard tomorrow or at day room tomorrow, whatever the situation may be, depending on how urgent it is to get this person off the yard, that, it's going to be go time. So you get together with the other people that have been given this assignment and you formulate a plan, basically. Like, where you're going to make the move and how you're going to make the move. Now I will say that, it's not Hollywood. It's not the shit that you see in the movies where, one guy grabs him and the other guy in the abdomen area a couple of times. Like, this is messy shit. This is stuff that you will see for the rest of your life. The eyes, just the gore of it all, So once you've got all this figured out, you come out to yard. And something to keep in mind, typically they're going to try to, they're going to keep it within the car. And what I mean by the car is it's group segments within the bigger group. For example, I was from the Inland Empire, so i.e. Peckerwoods. You've got Skinheads, you've got LA County car, which isn't all that big, but IE was a lot bigger. You have Sacramento, just San Diego, Dago, as they call it. You have all these different cars. So typically it's gonna stay within the car because we don't want people putting hands on one of our people. We'll take out our own trash, basically, is the thought process. So now it's time. You're on the yard. You're going to do this hit today. You are paying close attention to the gunner and what his focus is. You're hoping maybe he'll step away for a minute to use the restroom or something, and you can get on him in that moment. That way, you have a little bit of extra time, as well as, it really lowers the risk of being shot in the head, to be perfectly blunt. So before any of this happens, though, typically there'll be a heads up given to the other races. And the reason for that is when something happens on the yard and you see a commotion, your instinct is to move towards that commotion, especially if you think it may be one of the people within your organization, because nobody's going to put hands on your people and you stand by and watch. So last thing you want is for some miscommunication to lead to like a full-blown riot, which could definitely happen. And one thing I will say, an example of that is, you come out to yard and word is circulating through the wood pile to stay away from the basketball court because the blacks are going to be handling some business over there today. So basically what that means is they're planning to stab one of their own, so stay out of that area. You don't want to, be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it's not just because, you could accidentally get hit while the ruckus is going on. Like I said, those gunners up there they fire off that block gun a couple of times and then they rack that mini and they let it pop. You don't want to be anywhere near that when them bullets start flying. So that's another reason for that. So before, in the hours and maybe days even leading up to you actually doing this, your people are going to give you kites and possibly dope that you're going to put into your prison wallet, if you know what I mean. That way, when you get to the back, you can deliver those to the big homies back there. And I'm talking about AdSeg. So basically, now it's go time, and your adrenaline is just going 100 miles an hour. You're nervous. You want to put on a good showing. Violence is the universal language in there, so you want to show people that you can be just as violent as everybody else and that they should respect you / fear you, because that's all that's understood in there is violence. You can talk a good game, but that don't mean nothing. Someone will stick something in your neck. It don't matter. That's what you want people to realize, that you're willing to do that as well. So for me, in the moment, everything slows down, but it speeds up at the same time. I know that probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but, a minute or so of being on somebody seems like forever. And like, I tend to get tunnel vision in the moment. I don't really see what's going on, but you hear Bertha going off. That's the block gun. Boom! Boom! And you're counting. And once your designated number of block gun shots are done, you hear him rack the mini. That's when you know it's time to throw the weapon and prone out. So now there's different types of hits on these yards. Sometimes they just want to remove somebody. Maybe it's a drug debt or something of that sort. And they just, they've been doing this over and over again. And like, you're just tired of the shit. And it's causing conflict with other races. So they just need to be removed from the yard and sent over to the SNY side. Then there's other times where the assignment is to take their wind. And what I mean by that is they don't want that person to be alive anymore. And these are more of the kamikaze missions, and they do happen. And what happens with those is basically you stay on them until you are either sprayed and removed or until you are shot. And this is reality. So, with basically, so say now you're fortunate enough, you've been sprayed, you've been taken down to the ground, maybe hit with the billy club a couple of times, tackled off, and now you're thrown out and cuffed. They're going to cuff the victim as well, and the alarm's going off, they're yelling, get down at you and all this stuff prior to this. But what they're going to do is they're going to get the victim out of there, either take them to the infirmary or get them on a life flight, depending on, how much damage you are able to inflict on this individual. And now you're cuffed up and you're being escorted to ADSEG. Now, once you get to ADSEG, you are going to have lockup orders, which basically tell why you were there, who the victim was, and, all the information. It's like your paperwork, your extended paperwork, I guess you would say. So then you are going to maybe possibly be asked some questions about what happened and why it was done. And, that's information you will convey along with your paperwork once you're back there. Then, in a situation like that, you're going to have a pending shoe term, which typically is 14 months or more, depending on the severity of the crime. And you are also going to be hit with outside charges, a DA referral. So now you are going to be on a bus heading back to the county jail in the county of where the prison is. So North Kern State Prison, for example, you would, I believe it's, I don't remember what the name of the county is, but you would be going to the county that prison sits in. And you're facing new charges, attempted murder. And, the couple of years you may have had could now turn into a life sentence. I've heard stories where some people get lucky and charges don't get filed and they just end up with a shoe term, and then, they end up back on the yard. But, 9 times out of 10, if weapons are used and there's great bodily injury, you're getting at least another 10 slapped on, especially if they recover the weapon. That's another charge. So, these are the things that happen in California State Prison on the higher levels. So just remember, if you make good choices in life and you continue to make good choices and you limit the number of bad choices you make, then this is something you won't even have to worry about. So I hope you enjoyed today's story. Family, fitness, and freedom are what helped to deliver me from living this life of criminality, and it can help you as well. And don't look at the mountain, just start climbing.